Karen demands VIP table claiming to know the owner, but I'm the owner, and she was left crying with a $4,000 bill after my revenge. Karen storms into the restaurant, screaming that she knows the owner and that we must give her and her group of pals the VIP table reserved for celebrities. The trouble is, I own the restaurant and have no idea who this lady is. But I decided to play along and see what happened. During the dinner, one of the girls asked me whether I thought my life was meaningless because I worked as a waiter. That's when I realized all bets were out, and I was going to exact my retribution. This is what I did. This occurred around Christmas and New Year's. My grandparents emigrated to Canada from Italy in the 1970s and established a restaurant. When they died, my parents took over the restaurant, which they grew and enlarged throughout the decades. I've been working at the restaurant since I was 15. As my parents became older, they retired and became snowbirds, spending the winters in Florida. They sold the restaurant to me a few years ago, but they kept a tiny percentage of the stock as a supplementary source of income in addition to their savings. As soon as I took possession, I modernized the old place. I rebuilt the restaurant, altered the logo, and contacted local and national newspapers to place advertisements. I invited food critics, bloggers, and vloggers. It was slow at first, and I began to fear that the loan I took out to undertake all of this was the worst mistake I'd ever made, that I had ruined 3 generations of a family company. But soon, it began to work. A local semi-famous YouTuber included us in one of his videos, which prompted more people to visit and review us. Even on a Monday, we were quickly seeing 5 to 10 times the regular volume of activity. We became a destination for large events, and it was not uncommon for a celebrity to stop up on certain evenings. I even invited certain high-profile clients to visit and cook for our guests. This cost a fortune, so we were completely filled for the holidays. People had to make reservations in July to get a table in December. It took years to get to this point. When things become busy, I don't simply sit in the back office. I'm on the floor doing whatever needs to be done, whether it's greeting customers, bussing tables, or mopping the floors. On nights with high-profile guests or events, I wear a jacket and take charge. One night, 6 women walked in. 5 of them appeared to be in their early 20s, with the leader looking to be in her mid-20s. My best assumption was that she was an elder sister of one of the females or an older sorority sister to incoming college students. I was greeting them at the entrance, and as they approached, Queen Bee Karen was telling the baby Karens how fantastic this restaurant is, how delicious the cuisine is, and how there might even be celebrities there. When she approached me, she explained that she required a table for 6. I responded, "Of course, can I get the name on the reservation?" She stared at me. She responded, "Oh, I didn't make one, but it's okay. The owner is a personal friend of mine. He said he always keeps 1 or 2 tables open for special guests and we can have one of those tonight." This is true for many high-profile restaurants, and I've been doing it recently as well. But I had no idea who this woman was, and she had never discussed any of this with me. I understood she was attempting to get in without a reservation, but she had chosen the worst person to try this with. I told her, "I am sorry, but we cannot seat anyone without a reservation. As you can see, we do not have any seats available." I didn't want to go all out and say, "I'm the owner, and we have never spoken before, so I never promised you anything." But I didn't want to embarrass her in front of the other girls she was with at the time. She then instructed one of the other girls to take a picture of me. She announced that she would speak with the owner and ensure that I was either scrubbing toilets or fired by the end of the week. The other girls behind her joined in, saying things like, "Yeah, kiss your minimum wage job goodbye." I wasn't sure if they were in on it with her or if they truly believed she knew the owner. Queen Bee Karen then said, "Look, you can either give us a table or I can make your life very difficult. This is not worth losing your job." She kept pointing, trying to belittle me, and then saying things like, "Obviously you aren't anyone here, because if you were, you would know who I am and never try to tell me anything other than yes or, of course." She was constantly attempting to put me down and take that table. At this time, it had been a hard day for me, and from my perspective, I had 3 options. Number 1, I could inform her that I am the owner and call her out on all of this. Number 2, I could simply hand her the table and let things go. Or, third, I could teach Queen Bee Karen and her minions a lesson. I selected option 3. I smiled at her and said, "Of course ma'am, please follow me." I handed her one of the 3 tables we leave free in case a celebrity walks in, which occurs occasionally. I told her, "I apologize for everything and you're right, it would be simpler just to give you the table." I also assured her that the first 3 rounds of drinks would be free. I seated them down and personally served them. As they sat, I told them, "We need one of your credit cards and IDs just to keep on file, and we'll return them to you before you leave." Queen Karen handed me her card and informed the baby Karen minions, "Tonight is on me?" I took their orders, gave them their free beverages, and informed them that due to how busy we were tonight, the meal may be delayed. The females only worried about the free drinks. They ordered 3 rounds and still hadn't received any food. They eventually called and asked me to check on it, all while giving me the worst attitude since they arrived. I told them I will look into it, but also asked if they wanted additional drinks. They ordered 2 more rounds. They were sloshed by the time the appetizers arrived, having done nothing but drink on an empty stomach for the majority of the night and just eating salads. As more food arrived, more beverages were ordered. What these girls didn't realize was that they were at our VIP table, which normally costs a few $1,000s to sit at, but I didn't charge them for it. Except for the first 3 rounds, I charged them for all of the extremely costly cocktails they had throughout the evening. Furthermore, the table they were sitting at, as previously stated, was VIP, thus the menus were different. Prices are not displayed on these menus. This is a restaurant industry trade secret. They also offered higher-end menu items such as white truffle, black caviar meals, and specially imported West Coast oysters, among others. At one point during the night, I honestly began to question what I was doing. I worried I was going too far with these poor girls, they might not know any better. But certain things encouraged me throughout the night, such as when one of the baby Karens questioned whether I thought my life was pointless because all I ever became was a server. Also, one of the other staff told me that they were planning how to mess with me, believing that they could do so whenever they wanted and that I would always give them a table. I overheard them say, "He's cute, but I wouldn't date a waiter like that. He is such a pushover." There were other comments like that throughout the night, so I continued with their life lesson. By the end of the night, each female had built up a bill ranging from $500 to $600. I handed Queen Karen the bill for $4,232.23, which included tax and tip. I've never seen somebody sober up this soon. She went from smiling and giggling with her buddies to almost in tears. She immediately summoned me over and asked whether this was a joke. I took the bill, looked it over, and apologized. "I'll get you the correct bill amount." Again, she seemed completely relieved, assuming she had received someone else's bill, and called me a effing idiot, before continuing to talk to her pals. When I returned to give her the right bill, she flipped out again. It was only a question. "Is there something wrong on this bill that you didn't order?" She and the girls were stunned and went over every single line of the bill, including the initial several lines that listed their original 3 rounds as complimentary. They then got out their phones and went over everything 100 times, adding it all up. Queen B, visibly startled, just remarked, "1 second, I need to use the restroom." Part of me feared she'd dine and dash and leave the baby Karens with the tab, but I discreetly reminded her that we had her ID and credit card, without making it too obvious. I was concerned that she would run out of money. 10 minutes later, she returns with new makeup, clearly crying, and tells me all about how poor the food was, how dreadful the drinks were, and so on, demanding that I at the very least cut the cost in half. She went on to say that the baby Karens would help, despite the fact that she had previously informed them that the night would be hers. Then, as if a light bulb went off in her head, she brought up her alleged relationship with the owner again, as if it would give me extra motivation to lower the amount in half. I smiled as I told her, "No, simply no. I can't change the bill." She takes out her phone and shows me a series of text messages from someone named after my restaurant, followed by the word owner. I instantly grasped what she had been doing in the bathroom, most likely changing one of the other Karen minions' contact names and erasing prior text to establish this new script. I reviewed the messages and clicked on the contact information before telling her, "That's not the owner's cell phone number." Her response was, "He has multiple phones for business, of course. You do not know all of his numbers." I replied, "How about this? If we call him and he says it's okay to take 50% off the bill, then I'll do it." Her response was to begin ranting and screaming, which drew the attention of the few remaining patrons, and I knew it was time to finish this. I told her in a less conciliatory tone, "Cut the crap, little girl. You do not know the owner. You've never been here before, and if you continue ranting, I'll call the cops." Her tone changed as she attempted to defend herself as best she could. My response to her lame retort was, "My grandfather established this restaurant. My family has been running this establishment for centuries. I've worked here for nearly my entire life. I am the sole owner of this restaurant, and I have never seen you, heard of you, or made any promises to a stranger I have never seen before tonight." The little Karens were frozen and had no idea how to react. Queen B was in tears. I added, "Now, I provided you the table you wanted, one of these particularly reserved tables for high-end clientele, which I did not charge you for, as well as 3 rounds of free drinks. If you do not pay your account, I will call the cops and give them your identification. Karen signed the bill in tears, and the tiny Karens reached into their wallets to hand her whatever cash they had, which was probably a couple $100, with the promise to repay her more. 2 days later, an angry man arrives at my restaurant and requests that one of my bartenders talk with me. I was in the back office working, so he had to wait for about a half hour. She was with him too, but she kept her head down. I took them both to my office and showed him highlights from the security cameras, which had particularly high-quality audio because they were in the VIP area. We needed to keep good records in that region due to previous unconnected accidents. I showed him the majority of it, their remarks, orders, everything. When all was said and done, he rushed out with her, yelling at her the entire way. I have not seen or heard from any of them since, but the initial bill I gave them, which did not include the $120 oysters, is framed on my desk. As a side note, I did not lose as much money on the table in 3 rounds of drinks as you might expect. The table was intended to be empty anyway, so I didn't lose anything because I hadn't expected to gain anything in the first place. The cost of the meal and other drinks more than compensated for the loss in the first 3 rounds. So now that you know everything, am I the jerk? Probably the most astonishing thing about the Karens in this situation, aside from the money, trying to muscle their way into securing a seat and avoiding paying the bill, was their perspective on the world. That solitary statement concerning the OP's original poster's inadequacy as a waiter definitely stood out. It seems that OP was going to loosen up on his entire vengeance plan, but then one of the baby Karens asked him if he felt his life was meaningless because all he had become was a waitress. That has to be one of the most insanely entitled viewpoints we've ever seen on this channel. It may not be as exciting or insane as some of the other stories, but the fact that she actually sees the world in this way is simply sick. There is absolutely nothing wrong with having a job, regardless of the income. This occurs frequently with jobs such as janitors, and I despise it when individuals believe they are superior just because they do not work in those positions. There is nothing wrong with becoming a janitor. I don't understand that mindset, but in this situation, she not only feels that way, but she also wants to mock him for doing a difficult job, such as being a waiter. Or at least that's what she believes he's doing. One more thing. I'm happy this story ended on a somewhat gratifying note, with the father attempting to reverse the situation but becoming more enraged with his daughter than the restaurant owner. The only thing that scared me out was that the restaurant was recording audio of the folks sitting at that table. I would probably avoid going to a restaurant if I knew my talks were being recorded. Anyway, I'm glad it worked out for the OP, but please tell me how you would have handled the matter if it were your restaurant and these were your customers. Was the OP a jerk or not, and why?
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.
After confronting my husband's friend about pressuring his sick fiancée into having kids, I question if I overstepped or just told the truth. Original post, September 7, 2024. Obligatory throwaway, my 32F husband, 36M, has a high school friend, 36M. Let's call him John. John is a typical jock, athletic, good-looking, popular with girls. But I've been around enough to see and hear him being questionable towards women. To the story, we were in a group of friends and I was introducing them to my new baby, 0F. Important info. I had a miserable pregnancy. The topic of having kids came up and John started saying how he and his fiancée, 32F, would be the next. More important information, his fiancée Janet is an amazing lady. Kind, smart, gentle. Recently she has been through a lot, lost her dad and her health has been terrible. Not going to say what, but she has a disease that causes headaches, weakness, dizzy spells, fainting, extreme fatigue. She has become more and more emotionally and physically dependent on him. On top of that, she, and I, come from another country. It means her family and support system are not here. Back to the situation. I asked her if they plan to have kids after the wedding, that is in 2 years. I thought that because it gives her time to recover. He doesn't let her answer and say they agreed they would only get married after having kids. I am surprised for 2 reasons. She always said she wanted kids after marriage and her health is not good. She doesn't say anything, but looks sad. I argue that it doesn't seem like a good plan, and that a pregnancy now could put her health at risk. He said her fertility window is almost closing and that is now or never. I start getting angry, and we discuss. I ended up saying he is selfish and this decision is only based on his wants and needs and is hurting her. Basically a form of abuse. The room got quiet and we ended up leaving. My husband later agreed with me, but said it was not my place to say anything. Our friends are mixed, saying someone had to say it, but that I was too harsh. I feel maybe was not my place and I was being a busybody, but after being through a hard pregnancy myself, without my family, I know how hard it is. And my husband is a great supportive guy. Meanwhile, John leaves her alone all the time to party and enjoy life. He is dooming someone that trusts him blindly into a horrible situation. Aita? Relevant comments. Commenter. What you said was the truth, but you were a little harsh. I think you were right to say it because the guy obviously doesn't care how he treats his wife. I also think you should ask * his fiancée in private how she feels about her situation. OOP. I agree that I came out too strong. I feel protective towards her. She is so sweet and nice. I feel she doesn't deserve the way he treats her. But when I say something in private, she keeps repeating that she loves her and she never met a man like him. I feel she thinks that he is out of her league or something. Commenter. Honestly, I think he knows what he's doing. There's a reason he won't legally commit to her until after she has children, and it's not a kind or responsible reason. So I don't think he's going to care about what you said or the potential health outcomes for your friend. It may be satisfying to call him out, but is it going to change his mind? OP, I also found this part extra strange. The first time we met she literally said how her dream was to have a wedding and then kids. She even repeated that recently. She comes from a Catholic upbringing, like me. It doesn't seem like a thing you change your mind about easily. Commenter. Except his wife. In this conversation fight both you and John are treating his wife as if she's a child that can't make decisions for herself. He is talking over her but you are also making assumptions about their decisions based on her looking sad. OOP, I admit I should have talked to her first. But we just had a conversation about her health and she was telling me how some days she can barely make it out of bed. His smugness made me so angry. As if he knows what is best and no one can question him. Commenter. Honestly, I would be pissed if someone started talking and arguing about my health issues in public. I'm a really private person. Does the rest of the group know about her health issues? You didn't speak to her, but made assumptions. She might not confide in you anymore. He might be an asshole, but she is an adult and you could have made it worse for her. I had 2 awful pregnancies and was alone without family around, but my husband is amazing as well. I get where you are coming from, but seriously be more aware next time and show your friend some respect. And don't talk about people's medical history in front of people. Obviously not your friend. OP, I see your point. The group started with some people that studied together and expanded with their SO. We meet often and are friendly. When she got sick, we took turns visiting, checking up on her when she was alone for a reason or another. Everyone seems to try to be her support system, but seem afraid to say anything to John. Commenter. He probably does and just doesn't care. John is aware that his wife isn't in a good place for kids. If he and OP's husband are such great friends, why didn't he say anything? Call out your friend's shitty behavior, people. OOP, my husband is great, but everyone jokes he has a man crush on John. He was John's sidekick in school and doesn't listen when I point out some comments John makes. OOP is voted NTA but opinions are mixed. Update, September 10, 2024, 3 days later. Thank you for all the answers. I was blown away by all the perspectives and was able to see further into the situation. I reached out to Janet and invited her for a coffee. We usually talk with more people around, so this was the first time we were alone. I started by apologizing. I said I should not have said all these things in front of everyone and acted as if she cannot speak for herself. She said she was initially embarrassed, but after further thought she started questioning if it was really a good idea to have kids now and has scheduled a talk with a specialist. She said John doesn't know, and she wants to have more information before talking to him. She also said he was furious afterwards and they had a terrible fight. So you guys were right, it was not the right move, and he did blame her, saying she should have defended their position and that she knew having kids was a must for him. He also said that a woman would only be a real woman if she gave her man biological children. She asked him what if she could not, and apparently he never answered. It seems more has happened in the fight, but I decided not to pressure her and let her tell me what she was comfortable with. Lastly, she decided to take some time off and go home to her mom, and I think it is a great idea. The saddest for me was that she cried saying someone like her would never get a man like him, and that she was scared of losing him. That it was like she found a golden ticket. I held my tongue, because I personally do not think he is a prize. But again I took the advice and did not pressure further. I also had a long talk with my husband, and we are at odds. He still thinks I am overreacting and that John poops gold. I am frustrated, but not much I can do for now. Not a fantastic update, but it has only been a few days, so I will let you know if there is anything big happening. Now to the next story, story 2. Am I the asshole for being disappointed when my boyfriend did not give me the first slice of cake? Original post, September 8, 2024. Why, 20F, AM from Brazil, and here it is tradition that in a birthday party the person whose birthday is being celebrated gives the first slice of cake to their favorite person after everyone sings the birthday song. This week was my boyfriend's, 24M, and he had 3 celebrations, one with his birth family, one with his adoptive family, and one with friends, which was a surprise picnic that I planned and organized. He has had a very difficult life and his moms are really important to him as the adoptive mom saved him from starving as a kid and raised him, giving him a chance at life, and his birth mom battled very hard against poverty all her life, struggling and fighting to keep her kids alive and well. So of course I never expect him to give me the first slice of cake at the family celebrations. But then there was the picnic. I spent weeks planning and reaching out to all his childhood friends, making sure they would come. I went to bed at 2 a.m. the night before making him his favorite cake. I spent a shit ton of money with food, drinks and gifts. I didn't do it because of the first slice of course, but at all times I couldn't help but think, now is my turn. Turns out it was not. He has a best friend of many years, she and him are like brother and sister, they went through a lot of shit together. Like her losing her mom, him not having food to eat at home as a teen, and even though they are so close, they don't get the chance to see each other very often now as they both are very busy with life and all its shit. So of course he took the chance to show her some appreciation. She was so happy and, of course I understood the situation. He sees me every day and has the chance to honor me almost daily. He always makes me feel really loved and all, and he can't do that with her. Also, I understand he wanted to show her that him having a relationship does not mean she is not his sister anymore, a priority in that sense. I am not jealous, because I know there is nothing romantic between them. She is pretty gay and polygamous, he is the most monogamous guy in the world and he worships me. But I couldn't help but at least feel a bit, I don't know, do I need to explain? Maybe disappointed, maybe unappreciated. I feel like I can never be the most important person in the room. We always talk about getting married, we are each other's life and still, get me? And also, he did this in front of everyone, in front of all our mutual friends who don't really know her and all she means to him, so I also felt kind of embarrassed. I am just venting. I want to go home and cry a bit. I know I am being childish, but I guess I will keep it that way for now. Update September 8, 2024, 6 hours later. My boyfriend did not give me the first slice of cake. Update. Hi everyone, thank you for all the kind comments. Me and my boyfriend have very different energy spans, so I usually leave hangouts a lot earlier than him, which is what happened today. So I left, posted the story on Reddit, took a shower and started to paint my nails. About 3 hours after I left, my boyfriend called me. I picked him up and he was sobbing. Notice he does not have Reddit and he does not speak English, so he didn't know about the post, and I had not talked about my feelings with him yet. So he calls me absolutely pouring, saying he was going home and he has had the best day of his life. That he loves me so much for doing this for him, and spends the next 15 minutes talking between sobs about all the effort I put into the birthday celebration, thanking me for every single one of the things I did. Then he mentioned the cake slice. He said to me that throughout his entire life, because he has always had birthdays in his mom's houses, he had never given a first slice to his best friend, who went through all that with him, and that me being empathetic enough to let him do this was honestly one of the most special things I had ever done for him. He told me she had been going through some very important stuff and he was not around ever because of work and college, and she was feeling very left behind because of this, which is a huge thing since they are basically brother and sister. So the cake made her cry so much. It was the first time he had ever done this and she finally felt like he had not forgotten about her. And then, because I made that much effort for him, he asked me to rest. He told me that this next week was going to be entirely for him to show me appreciation. He asked me to please for once not sabotage him showing me love and pampering me because I feel like I don't deserve it. Because he was going to take his savings to take me out and spend the week giving me surprises. I know him well enough to expect some love notes. Him showing up to surprise me at my place, maybe even a song written for me. He also invited me to spend the weekend at his place, just the two of us. He lives with his family and they are all going to the beach, leaving the house empty. so that he can cook me dinner and give me one of his 1 hour-long full-body massages. They are my favorites. Then, after he said all that, I took the opportunity to tell him about how I felt today. He listened quietly, and when I was finished, he apologized, saying that he did not realize that was how I felt, that was not his intention. He just thought that did not mean as much to me as it would have meant for his best friend, so he decided to honor her that way and then honor me differently. With my Princess Week. But he told me he understood how I felt and that he was sorry anyway. We talked a bit more, but we got over the stuff pretty quickly and it all ended with us gossiping about the day, because two friends of ours who don't really get along very well apparently went back home together and half drunk after I left. Man, I love gossip. Well friends, I suppose that's my update. Maybe this is the day Reddit realizes that emotions are complicated and life is too, which is why small moments do not define a relationship or someone's feelings. How we react to the situation and deal with it does. I love my boyfriend, and he loves me a lot too, and that does not mean he does not have any family beyond me. That also does not mean I'm not allowed to feel sad. I have the right to feel what I feel and to be welcomed in that feeling, being validated. I will marry this man, mark my words.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you. My boyfriend yelled and insulted me in front of his friend after 1 year of cohabitation. How do I move forward? The morning started like any other. The sun came up, and its light sneaked into our apartment, making everything look warm and cozy. I stayed in bed a little longer, enjoying the quiet. Alex, my boyfriend, and I had been living together for a bit more than a year. Alex and I met back in college, and it didn't take long for us to start dating. He was fun, always making me laugh, and really sure of himself, which I liked. But Alex could also get pretty mad sometimes, especially when things didn't go his way. We had argued before, like most couples do, but we always made it right again afterward. Alex was a great guy, but when he got stressed, he could get pretty upset. I knew this about him and tried my best to understand. Today was a big day. Alex's old friend Mark was coming over. Alex had talked about Mark a lot. They have been best friends since they were kids. I was excited to finally meet him. I wanted to make our place feel welcoming for his visit. Our apartment was small but felt just right for us. We had pictures of our trips and fun times hanging up, making it feel like home. I was hoping Mark would feel comfortable here too. I spent the morning getting everything ready. I cooked and cleaned, hoping to make a good impression. But I noticed Alex was acting a bit off. He was quiet and didn't seem like himself. I thought maybe he was just nervous about seeing Mark again after so long. But deep down, I had this feeling that something wasn't right. I tried to ignore it, focusing on getting things ready, not knowing that the day was going to bring a lot more than just a friendly visit. It was going to be a day that would really test me and Alex in ways I never expected. Life with Alex before Mark's visit felt mostly smooth, like riding a bike on a flat road. Sure, there were bumps now and then, mostly because Alex could get really heated up over small stuff. But we always found a way to get back to that smooth part of the road after each bump. The day Mark was supposed to come over started weird. The apartment felt too quiet, like when you're in a room where you're supposed to be quiet, and you can hear every little sound. Alex was quiet too, not his usual loud cheerful self. I figured he was just nervous or maybe excited to see Mark. They hadn't hung out in so long because Mark lived far away. Alex had told me a lot about Mark. They did everything together when they were younger. From what Alex said, I pictured Mark as a fun guy, always ready for an adventure. Alex was excited about showing him our place, about having him meet me, and about catching up on old times. The morning Mark arrived, I tried to make everything perfect. I cleaned the house again, even though it was already clean. I made snacks and arranged them nicely on plates. I wanted Mark to feel welcome. But all morning, Alex was off. He was there but not really there. He was like a balloon that had lost some air, not flat on the ground but definitely not flying high. When Mark finally showed up, everything changed for a bit. Alex lit up like someone turned his switch back on. They hugged, laughed, and started talking a mile a minute. Mark was just like I imagined. Tall, always smiling, and full of energy. Seeing Alex happy made me happy too. We spent the day hanging out, talking, and laughing. Well, they did most of the talking. I felt a bit like I was outside looking in. They had so many stories I wasn't a part of, jokes I didn't get. But it was nice seeing Alex so happy. As the day went on though, I started to feel more and more like I was actually outside. Alex and Mark got into some serious talking about old times, and sometimes Alex would look at me like he was checking if I was still there. I tried to join in, but it felt like throwing a pebble into a pond and not seeing any ripples. Then, things started to feel tense. It wasn't anything big, just little things. Alex would snap at me over small stuff, like if I asked if they wanted more to drink. Or he'd make a big deal if I laughed too loud or if I didn't get one of their jokes. It felt like he was picking on me, but in front of Mark I tried to just let it slide off my back. I didn't want to ruin the day. But as the sun started to set, I could feel something big was about to happen. It was like the air before a thunderstorm, all heavy. We were all sitting around, the room getting darker, and that's when it happened. Alex turned on me over something so small, I can't even remember what it was now. But his words were big and sharp. They cut right through me, and I couldn't hold back the tears. I ran to our bedroom, feeling like I was in a bad dream. I lay there on our bed, crying and trying to understand what just happened. Why did Alex get so mad? Why in front of Mark? It felt like everything was broken, and I didn't know if we could fix it. Lying there, I realized that this was more than just a bad day. It was a sign that something wasn't right between me and Alex. We needed to talk, really talk, about everything. But first, I had to get through the night. The night crept in, suffocating me in its heavy silence. I retreated to my sanctuary, the bedroom where my sobs echoed off the cold walls. Curling up on the bed, I sought solace in the darkness, tears streaming down my cheeks and soaking the pillow. How could this be? I screamed silently. Alex, the man I love, the man I share my life with, how could he say such cruel words? The pain of betrayal pierced my heart like a sharp knife. Weak rays of light filtered through the window, casting faint shadows on the photos hanging on the wall, memories of our happy times together. Now, they seemed to mock me, a reminder of a happiness that felt like a distant past. The warmth, the laughter, the gentle hugs. All of it vanished, leaving behind an endless void. The small bedroom, once our safe haven, felt suffocating and alien. Throughout the night, I tossed and turned, my mind racing with thoughts of Alex's words. Why was he so angry? What did I do wrong? The more I thought, the more trapped I felt. Sleep evaded me, leaving me only with haunting questions and a dull ache in my heart. The next morning, I left the bedroom. The apartment was silent. Alex wasn't there. He must have left early, maybe to avoid talking about what happened. The quiet felt like a relief and a weight all at once. I made myself some tea, the warm mug in my hands a small comfort. I sat at our little kitchen table, staring out the window, lost in thought. I replayed the incident over and over in my head, trying to make sense of it. How did we get here? How did a simple day turn into a night that felt like it might change everything? The questions kept coming, but the answers were nowhere to be found. As the day went on, I kept busy, cleaning up the apartment, trying to clear away the reminders of last night. But it was more than just the physical mess. There was an emotional mess to deal with too. I knew we couldn't just ignore what happened. We needed to talk, really talk, about everything. But I was scared. Scared of what Alex might say, scared of hearing that he didn't love me anymore, scared of finding out that our relationship was broken beyond repair. When Alex finally came home, it was late. The tension between us was like a wall, thick and unbreakable. We barely looked at each other. Dinner was a silent affair, both of us lost in our own thoughts. The silence was loud, filled with all the things we weren't saying. After dinner, I couldn't take the silence anymore. I needed to know where we stood. Alex, we need to talk. He looked up, his eyes dry. What do you want to talk about? About last night, I said, my voice trembling. Why did you say those things to me? What did I do to disappoint you? Alex avoided my gaze. You kept interrupting our conversation. You weren't really interested in what Mark was saying. That's not true, I retorted. I was trying to participate, but you made me feel like I didn't belong. Tears welled up in my eyes again. Seeing this, Alex sighed. He fumbled. I know I behaved terribly. There's no excuse for the way I treated you. Finally, he acknowledged his mistake. A small glimmer of hope flickered in my heart. But why? I asked. Why were you so angry? There was a long pause. Finally Alex spoke. I was just stressed out about work. And Mark's visit made things more complicated. Alex's confession took me aback. Stress? I repeated. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to worry you, he replied softly. A mix of sadness and disappointment washed over me. We had been living together for over a year, and yet Alex didn't feel comfortable sharing his problems with me. A sad and disappointed feeling filled me up, like a bad drink that left a yucky taste. We laughed so hard our sides hurt, cried on each other's shoulders during tough times, and built a future together, piece by piece. But here, at the kitchen table, the place where we'd had so many meals and shared secrets, there was a stranger sitting across from me. It hit me like someone punched me. Alex, the man I thought I knew, the one I told all my deepest secrets to, kept his troubles hidden away, like a locked box I couldn't open. The key wasn't trust, because we trusted each other after all we'd been through. No, it was something else that was missing. He didn't feel okay being open with me, letting down his guard and showing me the worries that bothered him. Did he think I wouldn't understand? Did he doubt I could be his rock, his best friend, the one person who would always be there? That thought hurt even more. Here we were, supposed to be a team, facing the world together, but he was fighting his battles all alone. This wasn't just about the fight, it was about the whole thing we had together. We were supposed to be partners, not roommates who lived together comfortably but didn't really talk. The silence now felt loud, a constant reminder of the space that had grown between us. Tears welled up in my eyes, making it hard to see Alex across the table. This couldn't be the end. Taking a deep breath, I scooted my chair back a little. Alex, I started, my voice shaky but strong. We need to talk more. Not just about the fight, but about everything. I want to know what's going on with you. And I want you to know you're not alone in this. You don't have to carry this all by yourself. Looking back on everything that happened, it feels like we've walked through a storm and come out on the other side, a bit worn but also stronger. That night, when Alex's words felt like knives and my tears wouldn't stop, I couldn't see a way forward. But now, I see it as a turning point, a harsh lesson that taught us so much about love, about each other, and about ourselves. I learned that love isn't just about the good times. It's also about standing together when the sky falls down, about holding hands in the dark, and finding our way back to each other. It's about speaking up when we're hurt and listening, really listening, when the other person is hurting too. We've learned to communicate better, to not let small things build up into big problems. We've learned that it's okay to be vulnerable, to show our true selves, because that's when we truly connect and heal. This experience has shown me the depth of our love. It's not fragile, but resilient, capable of weathering storms and emerging stronger. I'm grateful for Alex, for his willingness to change and grow with me. Our journey hasn't been easy, but it's ours, and I wouldn't change it. As we move forward, I carry with me the lessons of that night. They remind me of what we've overcome and what we can achieve together. Our love is a living, breathing thing that grows and changes with us, and I'm excited to see where it takes us next. Will he continue to hold my hand? Only time would tell. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you. My mom asked me to watch my siblings for a week. It's been 9 weeks now. So, I have become their parent, and everything is just driving me crazy. Part 2. Now before we continue with the story, here is a summary to keep you up to date. The story opens with a 19-year-old suddenly burdened with the care of their 5 younger siblings after their mother vanishes just days before Christmas. She promised to return in a week but hasn't been back for nearly 9 weeks. The sudden abandonment leaves the protagonist grappling with overwhelming responsibilities and an unsupportive Nan who offers no help, adding to the chaos at home. Desperate to provide stability, the protagonist seeks legal guardianship, a daunting process that promises a semblance of security. In a pivotal moment, their 22-year-old brother steps in, agreeing to move back home on the condition that their mother never returns. His arrival is a beacon of hope, bringing much-needed financial and emotional support. The siblings are thrust into a new regime of rules and routines, struggling against the changes. The 16-year-old is defiant and rebellious, the 7-year-old's relentless tantrums and refusal to sleep drain every ounce of energy, and the teenagers push back against the new structure. Despite the turbulence, small victories emerge. The 9-year-old finds comfort in the newfound order, and the 12-year-old, previously a flight risk every evening, now idolizes their older brother. Under his influence, doing homework becomes an unexpected joy. As the protagonist battles to restore order amidst the upheaval, each day is a fight to keep the family together, against all odds. The story sets the stage for a dramatic continuation of their struggle for stability and hope. Now let's continue with the story. The 16-year-old has been a pain in the ass the whole time. She's so unhelpful, permanently grumpy, and seems to argue about everything just for the sake of it. It's like she takes pleasure in making my life harder at every opportunity. She winds up the younger ones just to be annoying, knowing it will drive me crazy. Every day feels like a battle with her. She refuses to do anything I ask, rolling her eyes and stomping around like the world is ending because I asked her to help with something simple. It's not just the big things either. She argues over the smallest details, turning even the most mundane tasks into a struggle. Her attitude is affecting the whole house. The younger kids look up to her, and seeing her act out gives them ideas. She stirs up trouble, getting them riled up and then stepping back to watch the chaos. It's like she's trying to sabotage any progress we make. I've tried talking to her, reasoning with her, even bribing her with small rewards for good behavior, but nothing seems to work. She's closed off, distant, and seems determined to push everyone away. It's exhausting, and sometimes I feel like I'm at my wit's end. My brother has stepped in to help, trying to take over with her since I'm beyond tired of the constant fighting. He's more patient than I am and has managed to get through to her a few times, but it's still an uphill battle. She's a stubborn, strong-willed teenager, and breaking through her defenses is proving to be incredibly challenging. I keep hoping that eventually, she'll come around, that this is just a phase she'll grow out of. But for now, she's making an already difficult situation even harder, and it's taking everything I have not to lose my temper with her every single day. She got her phone confiscated today because she was videoing our little sister having an emotional meltdown, and laughing at her. It was cruel and heartless, and I couldn't let that slide. Later on, while I was putting the phone away, I saw a message from our mum pop up saying some horrible stuff. My mum hasn't messaged me in weeks, and the 16-year-old hasn't mentioned messaging her at all, so I was like, what the hell is going on? It took me a few attempts to get into her phone, but I eventually managed it. What I found broke my heart. There were so many messages, mostly her begging our mum to come home. In return, our mum either ignored her or told her to come to the city where she is now. The 16-year-old sent countless messages saying how much our younger siblings need her, pouring her heart out. And what did our mum reply? I think I know how to raise them better, and I'm leaving it to you since you don't want me there. It was like a slap in the face. The most recent message was the worst. The 16-year-old asked why she doesn't care about us, and our mum basically said she has better things to do than sit here and listen to us all tell her everything she's doing wrong all the time. It was gut-wrenching to read. Here was my sister, desperate for some acknowledgement, some love, and our mum couldn't even muster a shred of empathy or support. Seeing those messages gave me a new perspective on why the 16-year-old has been acting out so much. It's not just teenage rebellion, it's a cry for help, for attention, for someone to care. She's been feeling abandoned and unloved, and her way of coping has been to lash out. It doesn't excuse her behavior, but it does explain a lot. I'm even more determined now to try to be there for her, to break through that tough exterior she's built up. It's going to be a long road, but I'm not giving up on her. She deserves better than what our mum has given her. They all do. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they get it. I knew she was having a hard time, but reading her messages to our mum has broken me. It's like a punch to the gut. I just want to stop her from hurting so much. Seeing her pain laid out in those texts, begging our mum to come home, makes my heart ache. She's reaching out, desperate for some acknowledgement, and all she gets back is indifference or outright cruelty. It's no wonder she's acting out. She basically hates me right now, so comforting her is incredibly hard. Every time I try to talk to her about it, she shuts down completely. She puts up this wall and acts like she doesn't care, like none of it bothers her. But I can see through it. I can see the hurt in her eyes, even when she's rolling them at me in defiance. I feel so helpless. I don't know what to do or say to her. Every approach I try just seems to push her further away. I've tried being gentle, giving her space, and even getting firm. But nothing seems to work. She won't open up, and it's like there's this invisible barrier I can't break through. The hardest part is knowing that she's not just dealing with typical teenage angst. She's dealing with deep-seated feelings of abandonment and rejection. Our mum's absence and her cold responses have cut her deeply. She's struggling to make sense of it all, and she's lashing out at the only person who's there. Me. It's like she's testing me, seeing if I'll abandon her too. I want to help her, to make her see that she's not alone and that I'm here for her, no matter what. But right now, it feels like I'm fumbling in the dark, trying to find a way to reach her. I just have to keep trying, keep showing up for her, even when she pushes me away. It's all I can do. Meanwhile, my older sister just calls me periodically to tell me she wishes she could help but can't because of a laundry list of reasons. One of the biggest ones is that she can't face being around our youngest sister because our parents said the baby was her replacement. My older sister still can't get over it. It's like, okay, but the baby sister just turned 7, and the big sister is almost 25. At some point, she needs to try to get past that, and realize it's not the little one's fault. My big sister is struggling with her own issues. She feels like I'm her kid because she wanted me to come live with her when I was younger. But I chose to stay here, and let our mum get away with not parenting. She can't seem to understand that the alternative was leaving my siblings to be neglected and abused like we were. For real, I don't have time to deal with her emotional baggage on top of everything else. And she's whining to me, saying, "Oh, I had to take time off work because I'm having a hard time mentally," which makes me feel so great when I'm working my ass off to feed 5 kids and handle a million behavioral issues every day. I don't even have time to breathe, let alone deal with her guilt trips and complaints. It's frustrating because on one hand, I get that she's hurting and struggling too. But on the other hand, her calls just add to my stress. She keeps saying she wishes she could help, but all she's doing is offloading her emotional turmoil onto me. I need actual help, not more problems to solve. It feels like she's stuck in the past, unable to move forward or see the bigger picture. I'm trying to keep this family together, to create some sense of normalcy and stability for my siblings, and here she is, dragging me down with her unresolved issues. It's exhausting, and it's not fair. I just wish she could see that we're all struggling and that I need her support, not her problems. Before everyone starts shouting therapy. Yeah, it's in the works. I've been trying to get telehealth arranged, but it's taking forever. Every time I think we're close, there's another form to fill out, or another hoop to jump through. We can't afford anything else, so telehealth is the best option we have right now. Until we get that sorted, it's all about good old-fashioned, just get on with it and try not to mess the kids up any more than they already are. It feels like I'm constantly putting out fires, just doing whatever I can to keep things from spiraling out of control. We're doing the best we can with what we've got. That means a lot of trial and error, and a whole lot of hoping for the best. I'm reading up on parenting techniques, trying to implement routines, and leaning on my brother for support. We're improvising our way through this, trying to provide some semblance of stability and normalcy for the kids. I've got my hands full managing everything, from meltdowns, to mealtime chaos, and let's not even talk about bedtime. Every day is a juggling act, balancing their needs, schoolwork, and just keeping the household running. Therapy would definitely help, but until that comes through, we're just taking it one day at a time, doing whatever it takes to keep moving forward and hoping it's enough to make a difference. In the meantime, I'm trying to be as supportive and understanding as possible, even when I feel like I'm about to lose my mind. Update 4. Currently, things are going okay. Big things that have happened, are happening. My older sister, the second oldest, is coming to visit soon. The relationship between her and my older brother is kind of strained because of some stuff that happened when they were younger and the 3 older ones all lived together for a bit after leaving home. Honestly, I think it was just a mess having 3 damaged teenagers living together in a new place with no support. They clashed a lot, and old wounds haven't completely healed. I don't have time to be the mediator though, so I just told them if they can't get along, then my sister will need to leave because the kids don't need any more drama, and my brother needs to focus on being a parent. It's tough enough keeping things stable without adding their unresolved issues into the mix. She's coming because she wants to help, and she said she won't cause any drama. We'll see how it goes anyway, but I'm low-key dreading it. The last time I saw this sister was years ago, so I'm trying not to think she's going to be the same as she was when she was a teenager. People change, and I'm hoping she's grown past the chaos of our younger years. But there's still that nagging worry in the back of my mind. We're already juggling so much, and adding her into the equation feels like taking on one more unpredictable element. I'm cautiously optimistic though. Having her help could be a real asset, as long as she sticks to her word and avoids stirring up old conflicts. We could use the extra pair of hands and the support. The kids need all the positive influences they can get right now, and maybe reconnecting with her could be beneficial for them too. So, for now, I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm preparing for her visit, setting clear boundaries, and hoping for the best. We're all trying to heal and move forward, and maybe this visit can be a step in the right direction. If not, I'll deal with it as it comes. We have started planning to move to WA. My brother is desperate to get out of our town and not have to worry about our parents showing up. He gets a lot of anxiety about it and hates the idea of me being at home without him around. His job will help him relocate over there, and he's been set on this plan for a while now. Moving with the kids being on kinship care was my main concern, but we've confirmed that we'll be fine to do it. With that reassurance, I'm fully on board. It won't happen immediately, but hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be able to make the move. Financially, we are doing pretty good. Between the kinship money, my wages, my brother's income, and the consistent support from my older sisters, we're managing. My brother is really good with money, and thanks to his budgeting skills, we've been able to save a bit. For Mother's Day, I was able to buy each of the kids a small present to cheer them up. They have barely any toys, so the little ones were thrilled to get something new to play with. It's amazing to see them so happy and engaged, playing with Lego and Barbies like normal children. It's been such a relief to see them being kids, running around outdoors less feral and more focused on their new toys. The move to WA feels like a light at the end of the tunnel. It promises a fresh start, away from the constant fear of our parents showing up unexpectedly. It also means we can finally settle somewhere new and build a more stable, supportive environment for the kids. My brother and I have been talking a lot about packing and moving, making sure we're prepared for everything. It's a big change, but it feels like the right one. In the meantime, we're focusing on making the best of our current situation, saving as much as we can, and preparing the kids for the transition. They deserve a better environment, and I'm determined to make it happen. I haven't seen any more messages on the 16-year-old's phone from our mum. She has completely stopped messaging any of us. The last thing she said to me was that she doesn't understand why I'm turning her kids against her. It's kind of hilarious, to be honest, but it just proves she is deep in delusion land. The idea that I'm turning the kids against her, as if her abandoning them wasn't enough on its own, is just absurd. On Mother's Day, the 7-year-old went outside 4 times before 8 a.m. to make sure Mum isn't coming down the road. It was heartbreaking. She's been crying about our dad too. When I ask her why, she just says she's worried about him. It's confusing because our dad hasn't been in the picture, but I guess she's holding on to whatever fragments of family she can. The 9-year-old, on the other hand, gets annoyed with her and tells her to stop crying because our dad is a bad person. She's very defensive of me and my brother. She tries to police all the other kids, telling them to behave and be nice to us, not to argue or backchat. I think she's scared that we will get fed up and leave, just like our parents did. Of course, I reassure her that we're not going anywhere, and she doesn't need to be the enforcer. It's kind of funny, to be honest, because she's no angel herself. Her protectiveness is touching though. She's trying to keep the family together in her own way. I get why she feels the need to step into that role, given everything that's happened. It's a lot of pressure for a 9-year-old, and I wish she didn't feel like she had to shoulder that burden. But I'm glad she cares so deeply and wants to help, even if it comes out in a bossy, sometimes overbearing way. Their diet has improved significantly. We still face challenges at every meal, but overall, things are better, and they're getting better at trying new foods. Years of living on ramen and chicken nuggets have taken their toll on our bodies. Now, they're having at least one fruit or vegetable a day and real dinners. Pasta bake has become the new favorite, replacing ramen as the go-to meal. My brother cooks curry, but that's still a hard sell. However, they do enjoy his chicken and potatoes. The 7-year-old is obsessed with bluey pouches of vanilla custard and would eat them for every meal if I let her. It's a work in progress, but we're making strides in the right direction. My oldest sister is still a pain in the ass and wants to talk about our trauma all the time. She has way more time to dwell on it than I do. I'm swamped with responsibilities and have no time to sit around rehashing the past. I asked her to please not message me unless it's positive or helpful. Her response made it clear she's just jealous that I'm giving all my time and energy to the kids. But I really don't have it in me to look after an adult's emotional needs as well. She sees me as her kid, and she wants to see me but doesn't want to deal with the younger ones. She even asked me to come visit her and leave the kids with my brother for a few days. That's just not going to happen. My kids are insecure and permanently stressed that I'll leave for good, just like our mum did. Imagine how stressed they would be the whole time I was gone. She also thinks I'm babying them, but I'm just treating them like children, which is what they are. It's mostly annoying that she's like this, but it's also partly upsetting. To be honest, there's nothing I would love more than for her to meet and love the 7-year-old. For me, it would be like my mum meeting my child. My oldest sister raised me when I was really young, and the 7-year-old is the only one of the kids I have fully raised since she was a tiny baby and our mum told me she didn't want her. It's frustrating because I know my sister means well, but her constant focus on our past trauma just drains me. I need to focus on the present and the future for the sake of the kids. I wish she could understand that and be more supportive in a practical way. If she could see how amazing the 7-year-old is, maybe she'd get it. But right now, I need to prioritize the kids' needs and my own sanity. My grandma is still at my aunt's house and remains very unhelpful. But at least she's not bothering me much, so that's ideal. She did mention wanting my cousin to move in here because he got kicked out by his girlfriend and has nowhere to live. But there is no way that's happening. He's a creep and a drug addict, so over my dead body. The last thing we need is more chaos. My cousin has a history of causing trouble, and the thought of him being around the kids makes my skin crawl. My grandma seems completely oblivious to the reality of our situation here. It's hard enough managing everything without introducing someone with his kind of baggage into the mix. I understand that she wants to help him, but my priority is keeping the kids safe and maintaining some semblance of stability. Bringing him into our home would only jeopardize that. We're already dealing with enough trauma and challenges. Adding him to the picture would be a disaster. It's frustrating because, instead of offering practical help or support, she's suggesting things that would make our lives even harder. Sometimes it feels like she's completely disconnected from what we're going through. But as long as she's staying with my aunt and not interfering too much, I can manage. I've learned the complexity of family dynamics. My relationship with my older sister is strained, because she keeps wanting to rehash our past trauma. I've realized that while she means well, I can't afford to get bogged down by the past. I need to focus on the present and the future for the sake of the kids. It's important to set boundaries, even with family, to protect our mental health and well-being. The kids' needs have to come first, no matter what. My 16-year-old's rebellious behavior and my 7-year-old's emotional breakdowns have shown me how crucial it is to provide them with stability and love. I've learned to be patient and to keep trying different approaches until something works. The kids are all dealing with their own traumas, and it's my job to help them navigate through it. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.
Am I the asshole for going low contact with my parents after they hit a hereditary illness, putting my child at risk? Edit, most of you figured it out anyway. It is called Huntington's. Update, I ended up telling my siblings. We met at my sister's house, and I just came out with, I have Huntington's. It's hereditary. You should both get checked. My brother started panicking. He and his fiancée just started trying to get pregnant, and now he's terrified. He's furious with our parents and fully on my side. He confronted them right after, and now we're both going low contact. My sister was more shocked and distant, but she said she'll get tested. My parents are pissed that I told them without waiting for the right time, but I don't regret it. My siblings deserve the truth, and I wasn't going to let them live in ignorance like I did. I, 28F, recently found out I have a serious hereditary illness that's going to screw up my life, and I am so mad I can barely type this out. It's a degenerative illness, no cure, nothing. My body's just gonna slowly get worse. And the kicker, my parents have known this could happen my whole life and never said a damn word. This illness runs in my family. My dad's mom had it. His sister, my aunt, died from it a few years ago. I was living overseas when she passed, and my parents told me it was cancer. Cancer. They lied right to my face. It wasn't until I got diagnosed that they finally came clean and admitted she had the same illness I do. When I confronted them, my dad wouldn't even give me a straight answer. I asked if he had it too and he dodged every single question, acting like I was overreacting. My mom, on the other hand, tried to justify it by saying they didn't want me living in fear. Are you kidding me? I could have been prepared. Instead, they chose to let me walk into this blind. And here's where it gets worse. I have a 2-year-old son. My child might have this, and they never told me I was at risk. I could have had him tested, made informed decisions, anything. But no, they took that from me and now I live in constant fear for him too. Then my mom had the nerve to ask me if I would have rather not been born than deal with this. Can you believe that? She turned it around on me, like I'm the monster for even thinking about it. And you know what? Yes, I said it. Yes, I would rather not have been born than deal with this disease. They made a selfish choice, and now I'm paying for it. They knew the risks and did it anyway, for themselves. They wanted kids, and now I'm stuck with this. I called them selfish, and I meant every word. Now they're begging me not to tell my younger siblings. They don't know about this yet, haven't been tested, and my parents want to keep it that way. They're hoping they'll get lucky, but I'm not going to lie to them. I refuse to let them be blindsided like I was. They deserve to know the truth. I've been in low contact with my parents. I can't stand to even think about them right now. My mom keeps trying to guilt trip me, saying they were just trying to protect me. Protect me from what? The truth? No, they weren't protecting me. They were protecting themselves, from the guilt of knowing they passed this on, and now they want me to protect them too. But I won't. I love my son and my siblings too much to lie to them, AITA for going LC and refusing to keep their secret, even though they claim they were just trying to protect me. Now to the next story, story 2. Am I the asshole for making a joke about my kid that accidentally triggered my friend's marriage breakdown and caused drama at an engagement party? So, me and my wife have a 5-year-old son. Our group of friends is mostly couples with kids as we are nearing our 40s, and so a lot of our meetings with friends now include meeting up as entire families, kids included. This can sometimes mean a lot of adults and a lot of kids. One person in this group, Emma, fake name, used to be my roommate in college. She was married and has her own kids, and we hang out with her and her husband sometimes in a group setting, but rarely on our own. Emma also tends to run late, often. This is all relevant to the story. As our son is an only child, we sometimes worry that he wouldn't really learn to share or get along with other kids. To prevent this, and while I love spending time with him, I would sometimes preemptively nudge him to engage with other kids when we are in public playgrounds or at the beach or the pool. To that end, when I buy him a water pistol or an RC car or the like, I'd often just buy 2 or 3. I'd get to the playground and play with him, and when another kid would show interest in the toys, I'd just go, "Oh, you want to play with us?" and hand him the remote or the pistol or whatever, thus getting the kids to play. This works great quite often, and I have a generally good relationship with the parents in our neighborhood. This is also relevant. One day, like a year back, me and my wife were planning on taking our kid to the pool. I pack my large bag of pool toys. Emma texts me, her husband is away that day and she's looking for something to do with the kids. I talk to my wife and tell Emma we're going to our local pool and she's welcome to join us, but we're planning on heading there early, so she can just join us whenever. We arrive at the pool pretty early and get a really good spot poolside, right by the shallows. I grab some water pistols and me and my kids start playing world domination. I am trying to take over the world and can only be stopped through the power of water pistols. It's a whole thing, kid loves it. Soon another kid is there. It's a kid from my son's kindergarten class. He's there with his mom. He is of course welcome to join us. We know the family, the mom and my wife are pretty friendly and our kids play together often. So my wife says she wants to go for a swim, and the kid's mom says she wants to join her, and asks me if I'm okay watching the kids. I say sure, since by this point the kids are blasting each other with water pistols and I'm just chillin' poolside, just occasionally having to call out, "Oh no, my plans for world domination, ruined." Because sometimes that's just what parenting is. Then Emma and her kids show up. She is really happy to see me and I give out toys to her kids. All is going well. Then my son's friend runs up and asks for some other toy and I go sure thing and hand it to him. Emma goes, "Oh my God, so cute. He looks just like you." I laugh and say, "Okay cool, but this isn't my kid." Now, in her defense, the kid does look kinda like me, making this kinda hilarious. When my wife and the kid's mom come back, I tell them this story. They also find it hilarious. We all have a friendly chuckle but think little of it. Fast forward to a few months ago. I haven't seen Emma in a while. We were at a friend's group gathering, and it was a good time all around. When we're about to call it a day, me and Emma are at the entrance. She's grabbing her stuff and I'm on my second trip from the car. Kids' toys, kids' clothes, dirty dishes, Tupperware with leftovers I want, etc. And I call out to Emma's husband. "Hey, can you call my wife and kid over? Just make sure it's actually my kid and not some random kid who kinda looks like me." I think it's a hilarious callback. He seems confused and kinda angry. He asks what the hell I'm talking about. Why would he call a random kid? I'm also confused, so I tell him the pool story. He doesn't laugh. Emma doesn't laugh either. The entire thing now feels kinda awkward. I awkwardly say goodbye, go grab my wife and kid myself, and we leave. Later that day I text Emma to ask if everything is alright. I get no reply. I will text again a few days later. No reply. I get the distinct sense I fucked up, but also if she doesn't want to talk to me, I'm not gonna force the issue. I leave well enough alone. At worst I thought she was mad at a joke I made which was apparently in poor taste. Boy howdy did I underestimate the fallout of this joke. A few days ago I arrived at a friend's place and she's there. This is an engagement party, so no kids. I wasn't supposed to come but decided at the last minute, and my wife was at home with our kid. Emma sees me and is livid. She wasn't expecting to. She only came because she thought I wouldn't be here. She does, however, take the opportunity to tear me a new one though. She calls me out in front of everyone. Because of my joke, originally said with air quotes, her husband was furious. From what she said and what I gathered from mutual friends afterwards, she previously commented on someone else's kid looking like someone who wasn't his father. Except that whole thing led to family drama in Emma's husband's family, because in that case that dude was cheating and that was his kid, and a whole bunch of people were really hurt in the aftermath. Emma's husband was furious because he apparently thought she would know better than to comment on kids looking like people again. This sent them down a spiral, especially because the husband apparently thought she told me that other family story, and that I was mocking him for his family drama, and he thought the story I told was just covering for her. When I realized I fucked up, this was not the case. I had no idea that whole thing happened. Still, he didn't believe Emma when she told him. So they are now separated. She calls me an asshole and says I ruined her marriage. I am not a confrontational person. I apologize profusely. I say I didn't know, and if she didn't want me telling the story she should have said something. She tells me I'm making excuses. This is now a scene. I apologize profusely again and leave quickly after telling the couple a quick congratulations. I am later told this was anything anyone could talk about at the party, and now the engaged couple are mad at me too. Emma is even more mad because now everyone knows her drama. I am unfriended and unfollowed on everything. Some friends think I couldn't have known better and the joke was pretty benign. Other friends say it was in really poor taste to throw her under the bus and I'm totally the asshole. Emma's best friend, who I also know from college, thinks I did know about the thing with her husband. And now I'm just covering my own ass to get away with being cruel. It has been a few days and some of my friends will no longer talk to me. Others think she is wrong to blame me and that marriage was doomed anyway. Still, I feel really guilty about making the joke, and I obviously wouldn't have made it had I known the trouble it would cause. I like Emma, and I didn't want to hurt her. I also liked her husband. I'd like to say that maybe he was wrong to let the marriage implode like that because of a stupid joke, but at the same time I don't exactly know his family drama and their history, nor the specifics of his relationship with Emma, so I can't really say he's wrong or overreacting. The entire thing just kinda sucks. My wife sorta got my back though. She thinks the joke was hilarious, and actually thinks me breaking up their marriage makes it even funnier, because WTF. She also loves crazy Reddit stories so she sent me to post this. So at least I got that going for me, which is nice. So. Aida? TL daughter? My friend accidentally said someone else's kid looks like me. I later made a joke about this in front of her husband. Turns out she said something like that before and it destroyed their marriage. She confronted me at an engagement party, and apparently I ruined that too. Aida? Update. I am now updating you because the last few hours have been a lot. It turns out that when I wrote my post I left out one critical piece of context. I thought I was a regular person living a normal life. Turns out I am Chaz, a side character on the worst Gossip Girl episode ever written. So after posting yesterday, reading replies and thinking it over, I decided to reach out to Emma one final time. Some of you thought I shouldn't and that these were, in fact, not my monkeys. Others made me realize that Emma was probably in a shitty situation with her husband and his family and was actively being gaslit. Now, of note here, while as I mentioned we're not as close as we used to be very close. She helped me pick out a spot and let me borrow her car for my first date with who later became my wife. She was a significant part of my support system during some very rough times in my life. Despite everything, I still felt like I cared about her and wanted to work things out. This is no longer the case. See, from my perspective, I thought we were good friends, then when she met her husband we naturally drifted apart, and then this thing happened out of nowhere. This was not what it looked like from her perspective. How do I know? Well, buckle up because this is absolutely unhinged. So last night, before going to bed, I texted her a long thoughtful message. I explained that I do apologize for the part I played in ruining her marriage, and I understand she is going through a tough time. I understand if she wants nothing more to do with me, but if and when she feels she wants to talk it out, she's welcome to reach out, and I leave the ball in her court. I show this to my wife and she is practically giddy. She tells me there is no way this shit doesn't blow up in my face and I should have just cut my losses, like many of y'all said. Emma shows up at my house at around 7 a.m. unannounced. I ask WTF. She says she really needs to talk to me. I call my wife to the door and explain this. She sends me off with this woman because she understands this shit can only go poorly and apparently she is here for it and it's my own fault at this point. So as I said, from my perspective we were friends, we drifted apart. From her perspective, for the last 15 years she has been playing some weird game of 4 days chess. Or, 2 different games of 4 days chess. Apparently she had feelings for me back in college, and she was trying to nice girl her way into a relationship with me. By being there for me when my dad died, and when I was struggling with being single. She always gave everything because she just assumed I would, at some point, come around. You'd think that me getting married or her getting married would change that. And it did, just badly. Apparently her husband knew about her feelings, which is why he always kept me at a distance. We never drifted apart. He explicitly asked her not to meet with me anymore outside of large social gatherings. That day at the pool? Yeah, that was her sticking it to him, because he was away cheating on her or something. And he didn't like her hanging around me scantily clad. It wasn't just that he was upset at the joke, he was upset because apparently I was having an affair with his wife and rubbing it in his face. Makes no sense. I know. It gets worse. That thing at the wedding? Well, at least she didn't plan that. I told our friends getting engaged that I wasn't coming. She asked and verified this. She wasn't expecting to see me and they told her I wouldn't be there, but once I showed up, she decided to exploit it. She intended to have a huge scene with me, so that she could tell her estranged husband and friends that I ambushed her because she broke off our affair. Our affair. Apparently we had an affair. Oh, what an affair is that? You ask. I did too. Apparently the story some people got was that she and I were having an affair, and it ended and I was stalking her. Her husband left her because he found out. So people more inclined to believe her just thought that was what happened and wanted nothing to do with me anymore. So why did her husband actually leave? Well, some of you called it. According to her, he was cheating on her a bunch and overall not a nice person. She never actually cheated on him, but used me to pretend that she did without my knowledge. So after the joke at the gathering, which may have indeed been in poor taste, they had a huge fight and he left the house. As for the thing with his family, from what I gather it was some dude sleeping with his cousin's wife or some such shit. So anyway, she tells me all this insanity and tops it off with that my message really moved her and we can still be friends. The reason she rushed to show up at 7 a.m.? My message made her realize I am actually the only one who really cares about her and everyone else in her life is fake and doesn't really care. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but now this sounds like some really manipulative shit to me. And now I'm thinking back to a lot of our previous interactions, and a lot of them also seem like that to me now. I am not a confrontational person. I was willing to accept that I fucked up. Maybe some of you were right, and the joke was in poor taste and I'm a huge asshole for making it because I thought that if he knew the story he would get the call back, and if he didn't I'd tell him a funny story about his wife. I accept all that criticism. But this? Fuck no. I was done. I tell her I'm done with her shit. She can get back to her husband, leave her husband, keep any friends she wants, because I am fucking done. I can forgive a lot, but she has basically not communicated with me for over 15 years. I was telling her everything about my life and my feelings, and I was absolutely appalled by just how much of a one-way street it turned out to be. I feel like I didn't ever really know her. Maybe I played a role in that too. Maybe I was self-centered or selfish and didn't consider her emotions or her signs. I don't know. And you know what? At this point I don't think it matters. She lied to me so much. She lied to so many people so much. I just don't care anymore. I don't think there's anything left to this friendship. And the worst part? I just gave you this huge update, and I genuinely don't know how much of it is true. Maybe she was completely honest with me. Maybe she lied about everything and we're still playing 4 days chess. Who knows? I certainly don't. And that, more than anything, is why this friendship is over. Because even if I could forgive everything, I can never really trust her. So that's that. There will probably not be any more updates because this was meant to be a lighthearted post and it turned out into a total clusterfuck and I'm just so tired and so sad. I'm sorry if this wasn't as readable or as coherent as my previous post. This just happened and I'm just exhausted. My wife has been very supportive, though I assume at some point I'm due some well-earned I told you so's. She knows there wasn't an affair and certainly no stalking, and most of my friends probably know that too. I may try reaching out to some others because, well, I don't know, maybe they were told even worse things about me. But I am just done with this. And now I'm going to spend what's left of this weekend with my family and try to put this shit behind me. Thank you all for reading, and for your advice.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.